Hello everyone, welcome to another video being recorded on a very snowy winter afternoon here in central Jersey. 4 to 6 inches are expected. Hopefully we don't get the ice that has paralyzed much of the western part of the country. I hope everybody's safe. One thing about snowy days, it kind of makes you want to talk about movies, watch movies, read books, get the coffee out, keep the coffee brewing, get out the hot chocolate. I'm a big hot chocolate drinker on snowy days. Today, I want to talk about a movie by Francesco Rosi from 1981, Three Brothers. Three Brothers comes a couple of years after Rosi made Christ Stopped at Eboli, which is a Criterion Collection release a few months ago. Great movie. It's in Rosi's kind of contemplative, meditative style. It's quiet, beautiful images. He confronts the rural nature of society, of Italian society versus the city. We get a lot of that in this film as well. This is basically a story of family ties amidst social disintegration. This is the era of terrorism that befuddled the Italian society in that time period. And it's a story. It opens with an old man who has lost his wife, and he goes to his town to cable his three sons to come in for the funeral, to inform them of their mother's death and come to the funeral. The oldest brother is a prominent judge in Rome, and he's been offered a case against that involves terrorists, and the previous judge had been assassinated by those friends of those terrorists, and so it's a very difficult decision because of his dedication to the law, but also his family's and his own desire to protect his own life. The middle son has gone to the north, working in a factory, got involved in left-wing politics, union politics. He's unhappily estranged from his wife. He brings his 10-year-old daughter with him for the funeral. The youngest son is sort of, I guess in America you'd call him a do-gooder. He works in I wasn't sure if it was a detention home or a home for homeless boys. He's the utopian ideal of society, that we can, if we just be kind to one another, we can make the world a better place. This is kind of a schematic approach, and Rosi recognizes that, and he said in an interview, this is a Aero Academy Blu-ray, and it includes a booklet with a really great essay or interview with Rosi, in which he confronts that he would overcome the schematic nature of what these three sons stood for in Italian society through his mise-en-scene and through the performances. And I think he really does succeed in that endeavor. Now the grandfather is played by Charles Vanel, and he was an actor that spanned the whole history of movies up through the 1980s. I think he was about 80 years old when he made this film. He doesn't have much dialogue. He was famous for his movies in the 30s with Bernard, Wooden Crosses, which was a World War I movie, anti-war kind of movie. He was in Bernard's Les Miserables. He played the inspector in that. And maybe most well known for playing one of the truck drivers in The Wages of Fear, the one who almost drowns in the pool of oil. The oldest son is played by Phillipe Noiret, and he, of course, he acted in many movies in that era by the greatest directors in Europe. I just did a recent video on Bertrand Tavernier, and he was in 4 of the 9 films that are Tavernier films that are currently playing on the Criterion Channel. I think it was in 7 with Tavernier, but this was an era of Italian-French co-productions, so French actors played in Italian movies played in French movies regularly. As the movie progresses, we see dreams or fantasies of the 3 sons. One, the oldest son, the judge, he has a fantasy of being attacked by terrorists, which actually this was a dream. The middle son dreams of reconciliation with his wife. That's obviously a woman that he's obviously still very much in love with. And the youngest son, the fantasy in that one is truly great. It's like a Technicolor Hollywood musical in which the boys in his that are under his protection in this detention facility are sweeping up all the trash of modern society, and it's played to a pop music song that was evidently very popular in Naples, is where the youngest son lives. And during this this bereavement period, the 10-year-old daughter of the middle son, she wanders through the farm and she discovers all this ancient farm equipment, and then she goes upstairs to where the grain is stored. Now the grandfather has been, we're seeing some daydreams of the grandfather where he recalls his honeymoon with his wife, and they're at the beach and he's wading in the ocean, and she's sifting her hands through the sand, and as she's doing that, she loses her wedding ring, and then, of course there's this frantic search to find the wedding ring. As the 10-year-old granddaughter discovers this grain storage area, she like swims through the grain, and she holds up her hands and sips it through the grain through her hands, much as her grandmother did in the grandfather's memories. And the granddaughter and the grandfather have a significant bond that only grandfathers and grandchildren can have, and I can attest to that. And she even says to her father, his grandfather's going to be very lonely. Why don't I stay and keep him company for a while? And they even, in the funeral sequence, the grandfather doesn't go to the funeral. He stays at home with the granddaughter, and they walk through the courtyard of his home, and hand in hand, and a very lovable tail-wagging dog circles around them. And it's really it's a moment that in which the past, the present, the future all seem to tie in together in a very beautiful way, and it's not overdone. This particular image is just beautiful, and it really contributes. I think it's what you're going to remember from this movie, and I can't describe the image. You have to experience it. It's a terrific movie, and it's highly recommended. And it's called Three Brothers from 1981, director Francesco Rosi. I'll catch you guys next time.